Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome back to Depictions Media Radio. I am your host, Michael Clogs, and in the next segment, you're going to hear from Rafi Khanna about a new business grant and support for all those businesses that have been shut down by public health orders issued by Adrian Dix and Dr. Bonnie Henry. This will include bars, gyms, nightclubs, things like that. But operating a business in British Columbia hasn't really been easy. When British Columbia has been hit by floods, fires, and other sorts of disasters outside of the pandemic, supply chains have been slowed down, trucking routes at times put to a halt because the roads are just simply impassable because of mudslides and rocks landing onto the roads, even roads being simply just washed out because of high waters and flood activities. Even right now, British Columbia has received an unseasonable amount of water with snow and then hit with a warming spell and heavy rain followed after that. So business supports are really needed from the government. Supports in the communities are really needed, even though this particular one is centralized solely around the Omicron variant and COVID-19 lockdowns to those specific businesses of gyms, nightclubs, and bars. Other business supports we're hoping will be on the way from the provincial government. So let's listen to what Rafi actually has to say and who can apply for these next rounds of supports.
Good morning. I'm Ravi Kahlon, BC's Minister for Jobs, Economic Recovery and Innovation. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that I'm speaking to you today from the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, in particular the Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh Nations. The continuing surge of Omicron COVID-19 cases has created new challenges for us all. I know that this is not the way we wanted to start the new year. Over the last few weeks, I've been talking to business owners and workers directly impacted by the latest public health orders. I know that many businesses are doing the right thing. They're doing everything they can to keep themselves, their community, and their workers safe during these unprecedented challenges. But I want to be clear, you are doing the right thing. By following health orders, you're helping nurses, you're helping doctors, you're helping ensure that our healthcare system can continue to operate and provide the critical supports and services that we need. You're doing your part, and we really appreciate it. And we're here today to say that we have your back. It's why we have fast-tracked a program designed to help those businesses directly impacted by the recent health order closures. Beginning this morning, applications are now open for COVID-19 Closure Relief Grant Program. Our government remains committed to continuing to support businesses and people as we navigate through better days. This means businesses currently ordered closed, like bars, lounges, nightclubs, gyms, and fitness centers, can apply for grants starting today to help pay for some of the bills such as rent, employee wages, insurance, maintenance, and utilities. Please visit gov.bc.ca/business relief grant to apply. This $10 million grant program is designed to complement the existing federal government programs. For instance, a gym with 5 employees could receive up to $5,000 of non-repayable grant with the COVID relief grant program, and because of the recent changes by the federal government, could also receive wage and rent supports for up to 75% through the federal government's local lockdown program. And their employees can now apply for the federal worker lockdown benefit, which they can receive up to $300 a week for income support. I want to personally thank all the businesses that have complied with the provincial health officer's orders. I know it's a very difficult thing to do, especially now. As you know, over the last week, the provincial health office ordered that all businesses reinstate COVID-19 safety plans. These plans provide an extra layer of protection for staff and customers. By making such measures, we're doing what we can to ensure that businesses can continue to operate in a good way. If you are a business owner and need to learn more about COVID safety plans, or would you like more information, you can reach out and more resources are available. WorkSafe BC website has full list of measures that can be taken to help reduce workplace transmissions. You can also visit smallbusiness.ca for helpful resources. It goes without saying that 2021 was a very, very tough year for the business community. Your strength, determination, and kindness has led us through these challenging times. Despite the hardships of COVID and significant weather events, BC has added more than 100,000 new jobs in this province last year. We continue to have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the entire country, and hopefully soon we will all be able to ready and visit our favorite restaurants and favorite gyms and other facilities that have been closed. The COVID-19 closure relief grant will help make sure local businesses who have been impacted can get back to normal in a safe way. These businesses are important members of our local communities and provide jobs to thousands of British Columbians. So please give them the support if you can while they're closed. They need us more than they need us just as much as we need them. We will get through this together, and we know we can because we've gone through this in 4 waves. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that may come.
Thank you. As a reminder to reporters on the phone, please press star 1 to enter the queue. You are limited to 1 question and 1 follow-up. Please also remember to take your phone off mute as you are not audible until your name is called. Our first question is from Rob Shaw, Tech News. Rob, please go ahead.
Open. I mean, it's 20 days since you announced the program. There's only 6 days before the restrictions are supposed to lift, even though we know.
Rob, can you please start your question again, please?
Okay. Sorry, I'm just wondering if you can respond to criticism that it's taken a while for you to open these applications, and if you could have done it faster.
Thanks for your question, Rob. We were able to, in fact, announce the funding supports within 48 hours, getting everything approved. And now we have the process up in place. We're hiring staff. And we are actually in the process of launching the website, which is launched today. And businesses that have already gone through the program will be fast-tracked because we have a lot of the information of businesses that are impacted. And so we'll be able to fast-track their applications. And, of course, there'll be some new businesses that have opened during the pandemic, and these supports are available for them. We've also been working closely with the federal government, which we have from the beginning of the pandemic, to ensure that any programs that we launch are aligned with the programs that they have so that there's no overlap. We're not duplicating programs, and all those pieces have been put in place in a very quick way. And I want to thank the civil service who have worked throughout the holidays to get these programs up, to get staff hired. It means a lot to many of the businesses who are impacted who need these supports as fast as possible.
Rob, do you have a follow-up?
Sure, thanks. Are there any improvements to the federal programs that BC would like to see and has asked for?
We had asked for some additional supports, some changes, and we're very grateful that they've made them. And now businesses that are closed, gyms and nightclubs, can actually benefit for up to 75% of the wage subsidies as well as the rent subsidies. And that's on top of the direct grants, the non-repayable grants that we're providing today. And so coupled with the 2 things together, I know that will help a lot of the businesses that have been impacted by closures here in British Columbia. Of course, that's in addition with all the supports we've brought in place in the previous year to support many of our businesses which are going through a very challenging time.
Our next question is from Lisa Yuzda, City News.
The question I needed to ask has been punted to another ministry, so I'm sorry. Thank you.
Our next question is from Binder Sejan, CTV.
Hi, Minister. Just following up on what Rob asked there, what good is announcing a grant program within 48 hours of the announced closures if the program doesn't even begin to accept applications until 3 weeks later? Is that acceptable to you? And how can it still take so long, given that BC has had similar grant programs in the past?
Well, it's vitally important for businesses to know how much they would be eligible for so they can plan during a challenging time. And that's why it was so important to be able to announce those dollars right away so businesses knew, okay, by the size of my employees, how many employees I have, this is how much money I'm going to have, so they could plan. Of course, now with the wage subsidy piece that's added, the rent subsidy piece that's added through the federal program, that's a very encompassing program that will support many businesses. And I know, having talked to businesses for the last week and workers that are impacted, that these two measures will go a long way and perhaps might not address all the challenges, but certainly it's welcome news by stakeholders that we've been working with.
Binder, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, and I'm just wondering, if somebody applies today, how soon can they expect to receive money?
Well, we understand the importance of getting this money to businesses as quick as possible. Businesses that have already come through the program, which is a large portion of the businesses that we expect will apply, will be able to get fast-tracked because we have a lot of their banking information already, and so we'll be able to fast-track that within a few weeks. And, of course, the federal programs have come online, so we're helping businesses get access to those programs as well. But I think it's also important for me to note that businesses that have not followed the health orders and have refused to close down their businesses are not eligible for the grants that we're announcing today. And we have built in an auditing system to ensure those businesses that have defied orders will not be able to get access to these supports.
Richard Zussman, Global News. Cordasco, Vancouver Sun.
Thank you. When your grant program was first announced, the closures were set to expire on January the 18th. But yesterday, Dr. Henry said that the restrictions will remain in place for now. So how does that affect your grant program?
Well, the grant program is in a response to the order from Dr. Henry on the closures of businesses. Of course, the decision on removing restrictions or adding restrictions are decisions that come from Dr. Henry and the Provincial Health Office. And of course, if for some reason those health orders are extended, certainly we'll be ensuring that the supports that businesses need for that additional time are available. But at this time, those are decisions that Dr. Henry and the Provincial Health Office make, and we'll continue to engage with them as the results of the pandemic continue to unfold.
Lisa, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, thank you, Minister. Do you know how many of the businesses that have applied for grants or programs before are eligible for this grant, and how are you assessing the impact of your grant, what impact that will make, and will that analysis be made public?
Yeah, so we expect from the previous data that we have from the grant intake process that we get up to 2,600 to 3,000 businesses that may apply. Of course, we may see more than that, and we're prepared to increase the financial supports, the dollars that are required to support businesses. And of course, the programs that we've put in place actually are very streamlined and with the rest of the provinces across the country. In fact, we have one of the highest per capita supports for people and businesses in the entire country. Not only were we able to provide over $500 million of grants last year, we also are one of the only jurisdictions that brought in a food delivery cap for our businesses. We brought in a reduction of 25% of liquor pricing, and of course, many measures that we've put in place to support businesses through a very challenging time. And I'm sure there'll be a big discussion past the pandemic to look at the supports and whether they were adequate or not. That's a discussion we're going to have, but I can tell you that those that I speak to in the business community are very grateful for the supports that we've been able to provide here in British Columbia.
Marcella Bernando, CBC.
You touched on this a bit, but you mentioned that businesses that have not been complying with orders are now going to be denied funding. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, businesses that have not followed the health orders, the orders that Dr. Henry have laid out, are not eligible for this business relief grant. We have built in an auditing process for those businesses that have chosen not to follow the orders, and we're going to follow through on that. And so to those majority of businesses that have followed the orders, this grant is available. We're here to support you. The federal government programs are available.
Marcella, do you have a follow-up?
I do. I was just hoping to see if you could maybe explain if it's worth their while. Are the grants large enough that it would be less than what they would be making just by staying open?
Well, between the grants and the up to 75% wage subsidy, up to the 75% rent subsidy, certainly it will come close. I think what's clear from my conversations with many in the gym sector in particular is, of course, they want to be open. Of course, they want to see their patrons. I spent my life in the gym, been a former athlete. I know how important it is for not only to go there as a place for physical health, but also mental health. And so, of course, when it's safe to do so, we want to see those businesses open. But in the meantime, these supports are important. I think they're welcomed, and we're going to continue to work closely with them as things evolve.
Richard Sussman, Global News.
Minister, you keep saying it's going to come close. How close is it going to come? Like, is there a commitment that it will be 70% of what they would normally make, 80%? Like, what's the commitment here about how much this will cover?
Well, it's really hard to judge because every business is different. They all have different business models. They all offer services in a different way to different types of clients. And so it's really difficult to assess. Even the fitness industry can tell you they have very small gyms that operate for a few people, and then they have very large ones that are operating to hundreds. But everybody will see a benefit in proportion of their size of their operation. The federal government programs are scaled according to how much revenues businesses see and their overhead. Ours are by employees, which is what we've done from the beginning of the pandemic, and of course is similar to what other provinces have been doing across the country.
Richard, do you have a follow-up?
As you're acutely aware, many gyms believe they can operate safely with COVID safety plans. I know that's a decision from Dr. Henry, but is there any sense that you're getting from public health is that they could be reopened soon? And, you mentioned some of those larger gyms. We're hearing some of them are losing upwards of $20,000 a month or more. Like, is this anywhere close to being enough for what people need? Why not just provide a hard percentage saying we're going to cover 75% of your costs in order to continue operating?
Yeah, many of the assessments made by fitness centers in particular haven't actually, to this point, considered the new federal supports, the new parameters of the federal supports. I know that the rent subsidy and the wage subsidy, when it's calculated in, is going to have a big impact. And of course, these grants are non-repayable, and they can be used for anything that the business thinks is necessary at this time. And so we have expanded that. It has been complementary to the federal government's support supports. And I do think it's going to make a big impact for businesses. And of course, we hope that when it's safe to do so, that we'll be able to see some of those restrictions eased so that people can go back to gyms and work and take care of their physical and mental health.
Cole Schussler, Black Press.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Minister, do you have any words for business owners who have chosen to remain open in spite of the public health orders?
Yeah, I would say to those businesses that it's disappointing. It's disappointing for those businesses that have chosen to defy health orders. These orders are not done lightly, and they're done to ensure that our community can stay safe so that we can protect our healthcare system for not only those that are needing supports during COVID, but others that are going to the healthcare system for whatever needs they have. It's not easy decisions. I support the decisions that Dr. Henry and the Provincial Health Office have made, and I know that the majority of businesses are doing the right thing, and even they don't like the fact that there's businesses that are defying orders when they are all following the rules. And so my message to them is thank you to those that are following the orders. These grants are available to you, non-repayable grants, and those that are not, unfortunately, these grants are not available for you.
Cole, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I know that you've been asked this already before, but given that the order is set to expire in 6 days, this kind of does send a bit of a signal that maybe the order could be extended. Have you been included in any conversations, or are you aware of any conversations around the order being extended beyond January 8th?
I certainly don't want to be sending any signals about any extensions. That is not something that myself or our ministry has any involvement in. Usually we hear very shortly before the provincial health orders come in place. To date today, I haven't heard of any changes that they're contemplating or any extensions that they're contemplating. So it's a question that perhaps is better suited for Dr. Henry and Provincial Health Office.
Shannon Waters, BC Today.
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.